Yes, man. Big up, man. We're back on Keeping It GTV. If you're new here, make sure you're smashing that like button, sharing, and subscribing. Now, I've got a bit of a fun one. I saw this pop up, and I said, "Nah, let's chat about this." Yeah, I mean, let's really dive into this. So, saw this on one of the Dragon Ball Z like kind of daily pages that I follow on social media. It says, "Let's finally put this debate to rest. Who was at fault for Cell achieving his perfect form?" Now, obviously, of course, they're talking about the Cell Saga. Probably, would I say it's the best saga? It- Obviously, it had a lot of fighting within that saga. We didn't have like in the original Dragon Ball Z's, right? Like the Frieza saga, let's just say, even like let's just say just after Dragon Ball, obviously Goku's now grown up, blah blah blah. It's gone up to Namek, and now we're into that Frieza saga. That one was there was a lot of story. Do you know what I mean? There was a lot of filler episodes within that saga. So we went through a lot of periods where it was just a bit boring. Some of the episodes, you know what I mean? You were kind of just waiting for it to just kind of end, blah blah blah. You know, all of that kind of good stuff, right? But of course, we finally got to see Goku turn into that Super Saiyan. That was great. But yeah, it was quite long. It was quite long. So the Cell Saga, if you just wanted a bit more action behind it, I would have said, yeah, if that's your kind of thing. And again, I can't even argue with it because the action was really good. Then yeah. And I've seen quite a lot of difference of opinions in terms of who thinks like who what do people think in regards to who's at fault and stuff like that. Obviously, they've got Krillin and Vegeta. There's probably a few other characters that some people might, potentially throw in, in that regard. So when we're looking at it, yeah, I'm like, obviously, look, right. So first and foremost, right, let's start off with Goku before we delve into even looking at, the other ones, right? Because I don't put him necessarily at blame, but I do think that you did have a semi part to kind of play, within this, right? One of the things that semi annoyed me about Goku during this saga was that he placed so much faith in Gohan. Now, obviously, it ended up, yeah, you were kind of right because Gohan was obviously, really strong and blah blah blah. But we knew how Gohan was, man. Like Gohan was this timid little boy. I mean, didn't really know his full potential. And obviously, we've seen what Gohan has then turned into in the later. So, although I'm not quite happy with that, the fact that they've turned him into this kind of nerd, and like these times he should technically be the strongest Dragon Ball Z fighter. He should be stronger than Goku. Like you can't have been stronger than Goku at this point, and then all of a sudden now Goku's just now surpassed you in every way possible. Like to me, that didn't really make much sense. If anything, it should have been Gohan surpassing everybody. Gohan, going up to these new levels, Ultra Instinct and all these kind of things, and then Goku kind of being this kind of grand master. I don't know. For me, that would have been a bit more of a better story. But listen, it is what it is. And they've done it the way they've done it, right? But he placed so much faith on Gohan during a period of time when Gohan was still young. Like I'm sure he was like I don't know, like 12 or 30. I don't know. But obviously, Saiyans, obviously, they grow at different rates. So it is a little bit different. Now, obviously, we did see Gohan go on and do a madness once he finally turned into that kind of Super Saiyan 2, kind of thing. And it was like, this was like Super Saiyan 2 extra kind of thing, I mean, with like extra steps, within that. And I was like, okay, that's all great, right? But you place so much faith on the kid. And it's almost like you didn't even then try to get stronger during this period of time. That's what annoyed me more. He stayed at this kind of level that he was at. And it's almost like he didn't feel the need to then have to grow even stronger, even though we know how Goku works. Goku works in, he's always trying to get stronger. He's always trying to battle everybody because he thinks, yo, if I can beat this guy, or if I can at least just face off against this guy, I can potentially keep hitting new heights, new heights. And then we've seen him train with all Beerus and all it. Bro, that's what Goku does. So I was just annoyed at that period of time. And I was like, well, why didn't you try to get stronger alongside, Gohan, at the time? And obviously we knew, obviously at the beginning of this saga, obviously him, well, I say beginning of this, yeah, beginning of this saga where he obviously, he gets ill and all that kind of stuff. And, everyone's hopes is obviously all rested on him and blah, 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 all of that kind of stuff. So we know all of that, but that was really just my only kind of gripe, do you know what I mean, with him in that kind of regards. And then when he is facing Cell, he's allowing Cell to do the whole transformation thing because in his head he's like, well, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I want to see you at your strongest. I want to see, and then he kind of just gives up in the middle of a fight. Goku has never done that in any fight where he just gives up and says, "Nah, I'm all right, man. You know what? I feel like there's someone else here who can kind of do this. And I'm like, bro, come on, Goku, man. Like, that's no, man. Like, I'm not really feeling any of that. So I wasn't too happy with that in terms of allowing Cell to kind of get to this stage where he was just so strong. Remember, Cell's reaching whatever his final form is, plus like Super Saiyan, whatever. Do you know what I mean? He was now at the level of a Super Saiyan. Do you get what I'm trying to say? And he was like, when I say he's at the level of Super Saiyan, he's at the level of a Super Saiyan Cell. Cell's already stronger than everybody else, and then he goes on to then turn into a Super Saiyan of that. We see him obviously, you know, with when he powers up and stuff like that later on in that whole saga. So yeah, it really did annoy me. It really did annoy me. But I'm not going to place too much blame on him. Let's go with Krillin. Krillin's a funny one. Krillin really is a funny one. I mean, he's one of those characters that you're just kind of like you're always dying. I mean, now he's got hair, which is hilarious. I mean, he's probably the first person or the first kind of character I've ever seen, you know, get a hair transplant. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's crazy. But yeah, like he's one of those characters. He's not strong. Do you know what I mean? Although, if anyone remembers, there was a time when he was actually stronger than Goku, but I was like right in like Dragon Ball, like the early stages during I think the first World Tournament. But anyways, yeah, during this saga, everyone was like getting onto him because they said, "Ra, if," and I'll show you guys here actually. So obviously this is I saw this and I was like, oh, let's rap about it. So Krillin's role, right? Compassion. Krillin hesitated to destroy the remote because he had developed a bond with Android 18, who was no longer a threat. He saw her as a victim of Dr. Gero's manipulation. The consequence, although his intentions were not malicious, Krillin's decision did allow Cell to find Android 18 and absorb her, which was a decisive event in the path to the perfect Cell. So I agree with that. When you're looking at that, like he could have destroyed the remote, but because he all got feelings and blah blah blah, everyone was like, well, he was like, okay, cool. You know what? Maybe Android 18 is actually a good person and etc. Now, if you remember, this kind of goes like I saw something online, and this kind of goes to maybe what Krillin did in hindsight. Now, obviously, we don't know during the battle. So at the time, to me, Krillin is at fault more than anybody else because he actually had a chance to actually stop this from even getting to that point where we needed to worry about Gohan and then Goku having to die, to, you know, blow up the planet. Where did he go to? Master Hiroshi? No, was it Hiroshi? No. Where did he go? He went somewhere. I can't remember. He went to a different planet with what's his name? The Kai. So I was like, okay, this is all on Krillin. You should have done that. But in hindsight, when you now look back at it, he probably made a good decision in terms of not doing that because he could obviously see that the androids weren't like there was something more to the androids. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, it's one of them ones where it's like it's a deeper meaning. You know what I mean? Behind and yeah, I just remembered it's Kinkai. I don't know why my brain just went frazzled there, but yeah, when Goku had to go obviously to Kinkai's planet and then obviously blow it up and take Cell there, blah blah blah. Even though that didn't actually kill Cell, it is what it is. But when like I said, when you look back, I can say, yeah, you know what? They became powerful allies later on. Obviously, if those who've watched the tournament, of the recent Dragon Ball Z, then yeah, they then become our allies. So it's like yeah, okay, but in my head, obviously he ends up starting a family with Android 18 as well. But in my head, I was kind of like, yeah, it's not like we didn't need that. Do you know what I mean? Like good for you for having a family and starting a family, but we didn't need all that. Do you know what I mean? I didn't need you to that like didn't help towards anything in the storyline kind of thing. I think Krillin, from what I can last remember, from what I last watched, Krillin was a police officer and everything. Like these guys got to have just normal daily jobs, right? So yeah. So in that regards, I'm like, I'm not gonna put the blame solely on him. Now let's get to the guy who is really the culprit. It's Vegeta. And I know some people fucks with Vegeta. I know some people really like him, and I get it. He's always annoyed me. Like he just has. To be fair, him and Goku annoy me. To be fair, there's not many characters in there who don't annoy me, but he annoys me quite a bit because of his pride. And I might do a little video just talking about his pride. But yeah, his pride is it's sometimes I'm like, brother, it's too much. It's too much, Vegeta, man. You don't need to be this prideful. You don't. You really don't need to be like this. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, you can just allow it sometimes. Like, I don't think it's always that deep. Do you know what I mean? In order for you to, achieve what you're trying to achieve, it's always like you've got to prove yourself to other people. Like, it's annoying sometimes. It really, really is annoying. And as you guys can see here, look, pride and arrogance. Vegeta, despite his newfound power, and obviously this is him obviously turning into, Super Saiyan, and the opportunity to defeat Cell, he chose not to kill him. He intentionally allowed Cell to absorb Android 18 to gain a real challenge and a stronger opponent to fight. Vegeta believed he could defeat Cell even after he transformed into his perfect form. However, his decision led directly to Cell becoming stronger, defeating him, and then defeating Trunks as well. When future Trunks tried to stop Cell by using the remote control to destroy Android 18, Vegeta intervened, preventing Trunks from doing so and ensuring Cell's absorption. So I'm like, if I'm being honest, if I had to pick between those three anyway, Goku, Krillin, and Vegeta, I'm going with Vegeta, bro. You did not need to do any of that. Like, you literally didn't need to do any of that. You could have actually have just been the hero this time. We didn't even need Goku, because I also think at this time, for me, and again, I could be wrong, and I maybe would have to go back and watch it and watch, the Cell Saga for years. But if I went back and watched it, to me, Vegeta was probably stronger than Goku at this time. Like, just at this specific moment in time. There was obviously early parts as well, but at this point in time, I felt like Vegeta was stronger than Goku. So with that being said, I'm like, okay, that's cool. You just defeat him then. We didn't need to even go on, kind of thing. But he could have defeated him when he was not the perfect Cell. That's when, okay, we needed to go on to obviously step in. But if we're just talking early stages of Cell, you know what I mean? I'll show you guys here. When we're talking about like this kind of stage of Cell, then yeah, now I'm like, oh, okay, cool, fair enough. Yeah, yeah, Vegeta, you kind of got that. But you chose not to do that. You ended up getting your ass kicked anyway. And that's what pisses me off. Now I'm gonna go on a rant. That's what pisses me off about Vegeta anyway. You always lose. Like, you're not that strong, bro. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, you're not that strong. You don't need to. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes just leave it out, man. Just leave it out. But you decided, yeah, yeah, let me do this, let me do that. Idiot thing. And then look, you ended up losing anyway. You ended up getting embarrassed. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Now your pride is hurt even more so now. Do you get what I'm saying? So what do we even benefit from doing this? Like, listen, he's the idiot. It's his fault. I'm putting the blame on him. Let me know, who do you guys think was to blame for, who was at fault, sorry, for Cell achieving his perfect form in the Cell Saga? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, man. This one should be a good one. I'll catch you guys soon, man. Peace.